Okay, so first and foremost, very nice to meet you all, and thank you so much for coming to the PAC course. The fact that you all came here on a Saturday morning means you are dedicated. So all the best to you all. Okay, I've got one declaration of interest. I know this is a PAC course, and this course is supposed to prepare you all for MRCG examinations. So my task here is not just the exams. My task is to make sure you pass the exams, but also you all make a good specialist. So what I'm going to cover in the next 30 minutes is not everything about NICE guidelines, because I think that one, you can read it yourself. Then we'll talk about NICE guidelines and beyond. So some things may be more than what you're supposed to do, but I'm sure it'll make you a good specialist one day. So before that, I got 3 questions. Okay, it's always nice to start with a question. If you get all 3 answers correct, Doris will buy you lunch. Okay? Question number 1. When is World Pre-Eclampsia Day? Anyone? This is a talk on how to reduce pre-eclampsia. Don't tell me you don't know when World Pre-Eclampsia Day is. Anyone? Yeah, I'm sure you know when Valentine's Day is, right? You're not going to save any lives. So World Pre-Eclampsia Day, sadly I've asked it numerous times, no one actually got it right, is 22nd of May. So every year throughout the world, they create this day to create more awareness of pre-eclampsia. So remember, if you don't know it, you're not going to help other people to create awareness, you're not going to reduce pre-eclampsia. Question number 2, have you heard about this word called ISHP? ISSHP. Yes? You've heard about it, good. So when is the last guideline produced? 2017 means you're ahead of the guidelines. The guideline was produced in 2018, and it's a wonderful guideline. If you really cannot read, cannot sleep tonight, please go and Google this up. It's called International Study of Hypertension in Pregnancy. It's a wonderful guideline. This is the guideline that you should be reading off. Now my last question of the day. Anyone got all answers correct so far? Good. So what is the S3 clear ratio to confirm pre-eclampsia? Any numbers? See a lot of discussions going on here. 0.4? Wrong. No reference for you? Okay. So you need to know S3 clear. I hope you have heard this term before. Sorry? Perfect. Correct. It's by gestation. So it varies, but usually people accept the number of 38. But it depends on the gestation. So with that, I'm going to talk about 3 things. Number 1, pre-eclampsia. Number 2, how to reduce. And number 3, what are the options beyond aspirin? It is not just aspirin. There's so many other things beyond aspirin. So let's talk about the global impact of pre-eclampsia. By the time I finish this lecture, there will be 2 women in some part of the world who have died from pre-eclampsia. If you come to my hospital now, there are already 3 women in the high dependency ward suffering from pre-eclampsia. So what should you be worried of? Not coronavirus, you're not going to die. Please be worried about pre-eclampsia. Every year, 500,000 babies die because of pre-eclampsia. That is mainly because you have to deliver them prematurely, so it is important. If you take a look at the Malaysian data, this is the data from the most recent confidential experiments. The leading cause of maternal death is medical disorders in pregnancy. The second cause of maternal deaths is embolism. The third cause is CPH. The fourth cause is hypertensive disease in pregnancy. So even in Malaysia, the fourth cause of maternal death is hypertensive diseases. So do you need to know this well? Yes, of course. Let's go back to UK. Now, what's the significance of pre-eclampsia in UK? If you take a look at the Embrace 2019 report, pre-eclampsia is way down here. It's actually the 9th cause of maternal death. The incidence in UK is 2%. There's no studies in Malaysia, but my personal take, the incidence is between 5 to 10% in Malaysia. Severe is 2% in Malaysia. If you take a look at the most recent confidential inquiry report, the cost of maternal death in UK from preeclampsia, once again, is the ninth cause. So what does it mean? Do you think it's going to come up for exams? No. If I'm going to set an exam question for you in UK, I'll ask you cardiac diseases, EPE, stroke, sepsis, psychiatric problems. Not preeclampsia. So you're going to go for exams, you don't have to listen to my talk. If you're going to work in Malaysia, please listen to my talk. That's what I'm going to try to sell the message. Let's move on to more important things. That is why the NICE guidelines is so lousy. That is why the NICE guidelines recommend 75 milligrams because it works for them. It is not a big significant problem, but we should do more than the NICE guidelines. So let us redefine preeclampsia. Anyone define preeclampsia? Anyone? Feel free to talk. Your voice will not be recorded. Okay, if you think preeclampsia is hypertension plus proteinuria, you're wrong. In 2014, they've changed the definition of preeclampsia. Preeclampsia means hypertension with one organ damage. That means if you get APO with high blood pressure, it's preeclampsia. If you have preeclampsia plus stroke, it is preeclampsia. If you have high blood pressure with IUGR, it is preeclampsia. So please don't be engrossed of the protein anymore. The protein literally means the kidney is affected. So the ISHRP guideline says preeclampsia means high blood pressure with one organ damage. The organ can be the brain, the eyes, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the kidney, coagulation, the placenta, the baby. So many organs. All you need is either one. So please move away from proteinuria. Please move away from doing 24 hours daily protein. It's been a long time since I did one. I can tell you the diagnosis of preeclampsia in 10 minutes. If you have to wait until Monday morning to tell me the diagnosis, something is going to be wrong. Okay, what is the pathophysiology? It's a two-stage disease. People still think it is a hypothesis, but it is because of diffuse endothelial dysfunction causing an exacerbated immune and inflammatory response. So that comes to my talk today, how to prevent preeclampsia. So number one, remember, none of you knew when World Preeclampsia Day is. We need to create more awareness. Number two, we need to educate people how to prevent preeclampsia as primary prevention. Thirdly, aspirin is the magic drug. Is there a role for folic acid? I used to love folic acid to prevent preeclampsia. Calcium, vitamin D is my favorite drug, low molecular weight heparin. The other medications I'm going to talk about, promestatin, esomeprazole, metformin, Viagra, arginine, and T-4B3. I'm going to quickly tell you all whether it works, it doesn't work. But this is the speech you should be watching. So let's take a look. What is the most important, significant risk for preeclampsia? Nulliparity. So I believe if you're going to screen someone, screen the lady who is in the first pregnancy. If someone has successfully gone through the first pregnancy, the second pregnancy onwards is very easy, unless it changes the partner. So the most important risk is nulliparity, and everything else is a significant risk factor, including ART and controlled pregnancies. So we're going to have a screening program, just screen the woman in the first pregnancy. So what are the lifestyle choices? Number one, before embark on a pregnancy, talk to her about achieving a normal BMI. If your BMI is above 30, your risk of preeclampsia is 1.7. If your BMI is above 35, the risk of preeclampsia is almost 2. Second important factor is age. Is there association between MRCOG and preeclampsia? Yes. Because by the time you finish your exams, you're already 30 years old. So what I suggest, to reduce preeclampsia, study hard, pass your exams fast. And then have your first baby before 35. Okay, single partner. Having a single partner reduces the chance of you having preeclampsia. You have multiple partners. Your body is not immune to the foreign body, which is the husband's sperm. that causes an exaggerated response that increases the chances of you having preeclampsia. The fourth important lifestyle choice is how long you live with your partner before you actually get pregnant. So there are two magic terms. Some people say you have to stay together for 6 months before you sensitize yourself to the husband and the husband's sperm so that you reduce the incidence of preeclampsia. Some newer studies say you need 30 acts of sexual intercourse before you need to get pregnant. So why is that so? The moment you get pregnant, if you are not desensitized to your husband, the body causes an exaggerated immune response, and that later presents as preeclampsia. So what are the current thoughts about preeclampsia? Preeclampsia is not a disease. Preeclampsia is a syndrome. It's a manifestation of a condition which is due to an inflammatory response. So the moment you get pregnant, the moment you get married, please don't get pregnant soon after. Please stay together for 6 months at least. But don't wait 10 years before you get pregnant. So not too fast, not too late. And finally is ART. If you have an IVF pregnancy, your risk of preeclampsia has increased to 3-fold. And most importantly is also multiple gestations. So take a look at the old NICE guidelines. Multiple pregnancies were not there. But the most recent guidelines includes multiple pregnancies as one risk. So I believe these are all primary preventive measures. Let's move on to other primary preventive measures. Education. Patients with severe headache that does not respond to paracetamol, you must investigate. Patients who have got vision problems, blurring of vision or flashing, think of preeclampsia. Severe pain below the ribs, not epigastric but right hypochondria, is because of subcapsular hemorrhages, think of preeclampsia. Patients with vomiting because of increase in intracranial pressure, and of course swelling of the feet is because of hypoalbuminemia. These are the things you should be telling your patients about. People postulate home BP monitoring, something that I believe on. Almost all my patients are on home BP monitoring. People also believe on home urine dipstick monitoring. You can give the patients urine dipstick for them to keep at home. But please remember, urine alone is not a diagnostic criteria. I think you need to create more awareness. There's this global group called EFFECT. So tonight, study ISHAP, Google EFFECT. You will find a lot of people doing a lot of wonderful work in regards to preeclampsia. So remember I told you preeclampsia, you must also blame the husband. Yes. So when you are married, there's two people you should blame for preeclampsia, not just yourself. Number one is the mother-in-law. If your mother-in-law has got preeclampsia, the chance of your wife having preeclampsia is increased in 4. So yes, before marriage, ask history. The chances of preeclampsia. So I believe family history is important. Don't ask family history of cancer, family history of GAM, not important. Family history of preeclampsia is important. Secondly, the male is also to be blamed in their preeclampsia. If the husband smokes, the risk of you having preeclampsia has increased. The husband has got a sexually transmitted disease, the risk of you having preeclampsia has increased. I see a lot of patients in the second union. One important question to ask is, has your husband fathered a child with preeclampsia before this? If he has, the chances of you having preeclampsia now is increased. So all this is not covered in the NICE guidelines. So don't just take age, BMI, STD, naval disease. Always ask, is this your first marriage, second marriage? How long have you been together? Has your husband fathered a child of preeclampsia before? Does your mother got preeclampsia? Yes, it's very perhaps. So preeclampsia is a couple's disease. It always takes 2 to tango. So after today, if you have preeclampsia, it's okay to blame your husband. Acceptable. So that brings another spectrum of medicine called paternal medicine. I'm sure you read this interesting paper that came out last year. Because now they believe the father also has got a big role to play in preeclampsia. That is one chapter by itself. So let's move on to the next topic, aspirin. Everyone's favorite drug. Do you think we should give every single woman aspirin correctly? Okay. How does aspirin work? Aspirin has got three mechanisms of action. Anti-inflammatory, it's got anti-platelet, it's got anti-angiogenesis. So how does aspirin work? Pharmacokinetics is very poor. I read it about 15 years ago. It inhibits COX-1, inhibits COX-2. Now what is the problem with low-dose aspirin? Low-dose aspirin only inhibits COX-1. So when you inhibit COX-1, you actually inhibit thromboxane. So there is no thromboxane, there is more prostacyclin, and that causes vasodilatation, less platelet activation. That is why everyone talk about mini aspirin, everyone talk about low dose aspirin. So what is the definition of low dose? Anything between 60 milligrams to 150 milligrams. When should you take aspirin? It should be at night. Is there a difference between morning and night? If you take it at night, your incidence of hyperpressure being lower in the morning is better. So the recommendation is at night. Can you take 75 milligrams? No. Because if you take 75 milligrams, 30% of the time it doesn't work. Can you break aspirin? No. If you leave aspirin oxidized beyond 4 hours, it doesn't work. So every day, what you tell your patients, take 150 milligrams of aspirin on night, break half, the other half you can give your husband, it's fine, or you can throw it. That is the prescription. But my principle is safe. If you've got a cat, you give a cat dose. If you've got an elephant, you give an elephant dose. So the Americans were smart. They say aspirin should be based on the patient's body weight. So if you have a thin lady with a BMI of 18, please give her 100 milligrams. If you've got a nice, healthy Malaysian woman who's got a BMI of 56, please give her 150 milligrams. So the initial trial called the FLAPS trial showed no benefits of aspirin. But various other studies after that, the Paris study showed benefits of aspirin. And now if you don't give aspirin for a mother with a previous preeclampsia, it's a sin. The most important paper is this aspirin trial, which was published in 2017. We were really concerned about 150 milligrams of aspirin. If you're going for exams or masters, you must know this paper. So this paper showed if you give any woman who are high risk 150 milligrams of aspirin, you can reduce preterm preeclampsia by 93%. So yes, 150 milligrams is safe. Now this important paper showed if you give someone low dose aspirin, 30% of the time there is resistance. The resistance is especially right if you give them anything below 81 milligrams. So the aspirin you find in the US is 81 milligrams. In Malaysia you will never find 81 unless the patient just moved down from Washington. So because of the resistance, we do not recommend 75. So what does the NICE guideline say? Start aspirin at 12 weeks. That is controversial. In the past, they used to say start at 12 weeks because they were concerned about aspirin causing miscarriages. But why does preeclampsia happen after 20 weeks? There is a hypothesis that it is the abnormal secondary trophoblastic invasion which happens at 20 weeks that causes preeclampsia. Now, what causes abnormal secondary trophoblastic invasion? It is actually the abnormal primary invasion that causes an abnormal secondary invasion and that causes preeclampsia. So when does the primary trophoblastic invasion take place? 12 weeks. So now people believe that aspirin, number one, does not cause miscarriage. Number two, does not cause gastroparesis, does not cause premature closure of the PDA. Aspirin should be started when you have confirmed the pregnancy. So you don't really have to wait for 12 weeks. Latest 16 weeks. but it's okay to start even at 27 weeks. The Americans believe the upper limit of aspirin is 28 weeks. So you go based on high risk and moderate risk. Anyone with high risk, hypertension, chronic kidney disease, SLE, just start 150 milligrams of aspirin on nights. Anyone with moderate risk, this includes the mother-in-law, this includes the father. Please start aspirin. That includes a moderate risk. Right. Now the Americans, I believe, are better with regards to preeclampsia prevention. The age is not 40, the age is 35. I believe this should also be the same formulations. And the BMI is not 35, the BMI is 30. So there's a slight difference between the Americans and the RICE. I tend to like the Americans only in this perspective. But you must know the difference. But if you're going to go for exams, please follow the RICE guidelines. Is there any other benefits of aspirin? Well, this recent paper just came out about 2 or 3 months ago in the Lancet showed aspirin prevents preterm delivery. I'm not really sure how. You can Google this up, and they say for any patient you start them in the first trimester, it reduces preterm delivery. I'm not convinced. That's an interesting paper to know, but please don't start everyone aspirin to prevent preterm, to prevent preeclampsia. Coming back to the question, universal use of aspirin. Why don't we just give every single woman aspirin so that you don't really have to come to MSF clinic and have a lot of tests? Well, the debate goes on. Whether it works or not, I'm not sure. But I believe you should not over-medicate. Just like how we believe not everyone needs 5 milligrams of folic acid. Similarly, not everyone needs universal aspirin. But perhaps the lady in the first pregnancy, that is the lady you should be really focusing on. So should we recommend? Debatable. People actually did a study called the test study where they gave everyone aspirin. They saw whether it's beneficial or not. The answer is yes. Women accepted it, mainly because they were pregnant, I guess. Okay, let's move on to things beyond aspirin, folic acid. People believe some small subset of the population have got hyperhomocysteine deficiency. If you got this enzyme deficiency, it increases your risk of preeclampsia. And so for many years, apart from aspirin, I used to give folic acid as well to prevent preeclampsia. For one reason, we do not routinely screen Malaysians for hyperhomocysteine. But the fact trial was published in BMJ showed no benefits of folic acid with regards to preeclampsia prevention. So sadly, there goes one of my favorite medications, folic acid. Stop using it after 12 weeks. My second favorite medication, calcium. So please use lots and lots of calcium. It's cheap, it's good, it's effective. Unless you've got stones, or unless you've got parathyroid disease, then too bad. So how does calcium work? If you lack calcium, it causes vasoconstriction. If you give someone calcium, especially if their diet is low in calcium, you're going to have vasodilatation. That reduces the incidence of high blood pressure. There's a Cochrane review on calcium, came out in the VJOC in 2017. It says yes. For those who have got low calcium diet, please supplement calcium. It does reduce preeclampsia. Apart from the Cochrane diet, the recommendation is at least 1 gram per day. There are 2 types of calcium. Calcium lactate, which the physicians love because it's cheap. And calcium carbonate, which is expensive, which the obstetricians love. But what's the difference? Calcium lactate has got an absorption of 25%. Calcium carbonate has got an absorption of 40%. So please use carbonate if you can, and don't just continue giving someone lactate. If you give someone 1 gram of calcium carbonate, the absorption is only 400 milligrams. It's still not enough. Hence, people give 500 TDS, 1 gram BD, 1 gram TDS. I think we're really not sure what the dose is, but the minimum dose is 1 gram per day elemental calcium. There are a lot of studies about calcium. The Cochrane review, the VJOC says calcium works. There's also a TOG on calcium and aspirin pregnancy. I hope you have seen this before. It says calcium does work. So should we start everyone with calcium at 12 weeks? Why don't you think we start everyone with aspirin as well? The answer is no. This recent method paper looked into benefits of giving calcium before 20 weeks, after 20 weeks. Is there any difference? There is no difference at all. So for the first 20 weeks, it's okay not to take calcium. And you can only need to supplement them after 20 weeks. Let's move on to my third favorite medication, it's called vitamin D. Now the problem with doctors is we like expensive medications. We don't like cheap supplements. So any one of you all use vitamin D for pre-eclampsia? Then I use lots of vitamin Ds. I'll tell you why in the next few slides. People believe vitamin D insufficiency is associated with an increase in incidence of pre-eclampsia. I hope you have seen this paper. It's a scientific impact paper that came out when you were still in medical school, some of you, I believe, 2014. That paper suggested that for every single pregnant mother, the requirement of vitamin D is 400 international units. But if you're high risk, example, Malaysian who are obese, if you have multiple pregnancies, if your vitamin D insufficient, if you want to prevent pre-eclampsia, the dose is 800. One tablet of vitamin D3 is 30 cents. So you can tell me with a 30-cent tablet I can prevent pre-eclampsia, I'll probably say buy 2 bottles of it at the house. So yes. So what is the evidence? There is no direct evidence that says vitamin D reduces pre-eclampsia. There is no randomized controlled trials. But systematic review says it does. So if you say in your exam, vitamin D reduces pre-eclampsia, 50% will be happy, 50% will be upset. So please save yourselves. Systematic review says it reduces pre-eclampsia. And vitamin D is extremely beneficial in populations where they are vitamin D insufficient. Am I at high risk of vitamin D? Yes. Because I'm tagged, I'm obese, I'm an obstetrician, I live indoors most of the time. Are Malaysians high risk? Yes. Sometimes if you are covered, but less exposure to vitamin D, and that increases your chance of having vitamin D insufficiency. So apart from aspirin, apart from calcium, consider using something cheap, vitamin D. Now the WHO recommendations in prevention of pre-eclampsia does recommend vitamin D to reduce pre-eclampsia. The Cochrane review does say it reduces pre-eclampsia. If you're still not convinced, try vitamin D taking yourself itself. I'm sure there is some little effect, but there's no harm. I'm going to move on to low molecular weight heparin. Have you seen patients who have got resistance to aspirin or who have got allergic to aspirin? So I do get a lot of referrals. They say this patient is allergic to aspirin. Can we give her low molecular weight heparin instead? The answer is no. We did a randomized control trial. Low molecular weight heparin inhibits anti-TAGI, whereas aspirin inhibits COX-1. The mechanism of action is different. Low molecular weight heparin does not reduce pre-eclampsia. On the other hand, is there any roles for low molecular weight heparin in thrombophilia patients? So if you're thrombophilic, why don't we just give you low molecular weight heparin just to be safe? It's called the TIP study. That study showed no. If you're protein C, if you're protein S, you're antithrombin 3, no role for low molecular weight heparin. There's only one role for low molecular weight heparin, that is anti-phospholipid syndrome, not thrombophilia. But I use these lots. I use a combination of low molecular weight and aspirin, not just low molecular weight. So in patients who have got severe early onset pre-eclampsia, namely 23, 24, 25, 26 weeks, I use a combination of both. This study came out in 2016. The meta-analysis does show benefits. So is there a role? Yes. So I'm going to quickly move on to some other medications. It's okay if you don't know, but it's good to know what the evidence says. So people thought why don't we give Viagra, which is a potent vasodilator, and does it reduce preeclampsia? What's the answer? Yes, no? If you're sponsored by Viagra, it says yes, but the study says no. Esomeprazole. Does a proton pump inhibitor reduce preeclampsia? The answer is perhaps. There's this study called the PI trial, where they give every single pregnant mother esomeprazole, and they realize that it reduces your S-fleet levels. There's less inflammation, there's less angiogenesis, and that causes less incidence of preeclampsia. So at the moment, people are doing a lot of studies about esomeprazole. Please don't write this in your exams and say, I'll give esomeprazole 40 milligrams. There's something to wait and watch, because people are talking about a lot of other medications. Does it work? I'm not sure. We shall wait for the trial. And as we speak, there are a lot of randomized controlled trials and systematic reviews. So let me give you a brief history of obstetrics. In the early 90s, people thought the magic pill was folic acid. After the 90s, the magic pill was aspirin. What do you think is the current magic pill? Anyone? Coffee? People think metformin is the new current pill. And they think metformin is the aspirin of the 21st century. So metformin prevents weight gain, treats GDM, prevents fetal macrosomia, and now they think it also prevents preeclampsia and cancer. So does metformin work for preeclampsia? Not sure yet. But people are actually looking at it. And people are now talking about a combination of esomeprazole and metformin. How does it work at a molecular level? It reduces aspirin. So once again, don't write it in the exam. Don't say, I said so. It's not all your patients are proton pump inhibitors. But this is something that we should consider on. So people are doing a lot of studies. And finally is the antithrombin 3. It's called the PRESERVE trial. And people think by giving someone antithrombin 3, perhaps you can reduce the incidence of preeclampsia. Anyone has used L-arginine before? Well, if you go to some private hospitals, you will be prescribed L-arginine. They've got IUGR, especially if they've got a placental disease. L-arginine has got some evidence to say that it actually prolongs the latent phase of developing preeclampsia. And so it's one additional medication that may be used, but people usually use this selectively. And finally is pravastatin. People believe that apart from it being a placental disease, it's actually a disease because of vascular dysfunction. So people believe if you give someone statin, it will cause less vascular dysfunction and it can reduce preeclampsia. So whether this will work or not, I'll tell you perhaps in 5 years' time. But these are what the medications people are talking about. So what is not recommended? Bed rest. Please don't ask someone to lie at home. Please don't ask someone to restrict their salt intake unless they've got chronic hypertension. There's no association between salt intake and preeclampsia. Vitamin C, vitamin E does not work. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, everyone's favorite. Every single lady that comes my clinic has got fish oil. It does not work. It does not prevent preeclampsia. It does not prevent preterm limiting as well. I used to work with a senior consultant who used to routinely prescribe diuretics for all pregnant mothers who have got fetal edema. It does not work. It is not water retention. It is actually hypoalbuminemia. And finally, progesterone does not reduce preeclampsia. Please don't give them injections to prevent preeclampsia. So what are the future? People are doing the STAMP trial. The STAMP trial is looking at pravastatin and reducing preeclampsia. People are doing the ESOP trial and the Expresso trial, which is taking a look at esomeprazole with regards to reduction of preeclampsia. So I believe the whole world is changing. I believe people are thinking beyond aspirin, but I believe we should also follow evidence. It's nice to watch this space. So if you slept through the entire 35 minutes of my lecture, So number one, giving someone aspirin reduces platelets. Low molecular weight heparin, yes, there is some role. Not for all thrombophilias, but for selected group of patients, especially anti-phospholipids. Calcium, yes. Vitamin C, E, magnesium, no. L-arginine, yes. Vitamin D and calcium, yes. Diet, lifestyle, BMI, knowing your husband beyond 6 months but not more than 10 years is good. I'm going to move on to some placental biomarkers. People speak about placental biomarkers. Remember we asked about the S3-PLGF ratio? There's a lot of studies talking about biomarkers. If you are going for exams, I suggest please read this paper. It came out in November 2018, looking into diagnostic biomarkers to predispose early onset outcomes. So what are the biomarkers? It's a combination of pro-angiogenesis and anti-angiogenesis. Remember we spoke about aspirin and anti-angiogenesis. So two important markers is S-fleet and PLGF. So people believe the combination of S-fleet and PLGF gives you better sensitivity than PLGF itself. So if you really are preparing for exams, you really want to know preeclampsia well, apart from the ESHEP guideline that came out in 2018, not 17, please also read this wonderful paper about screening in early pregnancy for preeclampsia. So how do we screen in Malaysia? Do we have a screening program? Yes, no? Everyone says about it. We do have a screening program. How do we screen based on history alone? So what's the problem based on history alone is only 70% sensitive. You still miss 30% of the population. How to make this better? History plus mean arterial blood pressure plus uterine artery Doppler plus the biomarker. So don't just do history. You add 3 other things. You will increase your screening sensitivity to about 90%. And your false positive will be less than 5%. So please read these papers about first trimester screening. When you're going to go for exams, just remember this one slide. If your part A is low, you've got a higher risk of preeclampsia and IUGR. If your S3 PLGF is high, you've got higher incidence of preeclampsia. It changes based on gestation. The value to be taken is roughly at about 38 in the second trimester. So people speak about a lot of papers with S3 PLGF ratio. If you love birds, please look out for the parrot study. The parrot study is going to look at incidence of preeclampsia in those who have got high PLGF. So we're going to remember one thing, remember 4 things. How to screen? What are the 4 things? Biomarkers and yes, perfect. So don't just follow history alone. We need to screen them better. Can we screen everyone? Not cost effective. Who should we be screening? The lady in the first pregnancy. If you have had a successful first pregnancy without preeclampsia and you're still with the same marriage, perhaps you don't need to screen. So what is the future? People talk about preeclampsia phenotyping. Why is that so? If you've got 2 patients with preeclampsia, not all of them behave the same way. Some will get it at 32 weeks, some will get it at 37 weeks. Some you can wait 3 weeks, some you can't even wait 3 days. So it changes from time to time. So my take-home message, lifestyle choices is important. Your BMI should be less than 30. Pass your MRCOG before 30 years old as well. Exercise. Be loyal to your partner and make sure your partner is loyal to you. Go for honeymoon in the first 6 months but don't get pregnant. Don't stay too long, birth 10 years before you have a child. IVF, IUI only if you need it, not for social reasons. Single embryo transfer will reduce preeclampsia. What are the medications? Aspirin, yes. Calcium, yes. Vitamin D, yes. Low molecular weight heparin in selective group of patients. Esomeprazole, I will tell you in 2 years' time. Pravastatin, I will tell you in 5 years' time. Metformin, perhaps. So what are you going to read after today? This is my recommended reads. ISHEP 2018, ACOG 2018, NICE 2019, 2010 you can actually forget, and the TOG in 2014 and 2015. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end with some exam resources. Apart from knowing a NICE guidelines, it's also good to know what is important in UK. So please always go and check the Embrace guidelines. The Embrace report comes out every year in the first week of December. So first week of December, apart from booking your holidays, just wait for the Embrace report. If you're sitting for exams in November, whatever came out in the December will come out for exams. So what I'm trying to say, cardiac disease and BT is important. Please also look at UK obstetric surveillance system. So with that, I'm going to end my talk with some promotions. So what is coming your way? Tan is helping me with creating this website. It's called obstetricmedicine.my. It's going to have a lot of information with regards to medical conditions in pregnancy. Hopefully, we can launch this in months. We are about to launch Super Ardua. It's a book dedicated to Part 3 emergency goers. This book will be launched in Sarawak in 2 weeks' time. If you want to have the book, please come to Sarawak. And I hope if you're interested in medical disorders in pregnancy, you can come to the MOMS course, which is happening 17, 18, 19 of April. We'll talk more about statins and omeprazoles and mother loss. So with that, thank you so much for your attention. Is there any questions?